Welcome to episode 24 of Green Legion Radio's Ice to Shorts Winter Sports, brought to you by Bud Light. Hello, everyone. Hello. I'll tell you a funny story about that. Hello, everyone watching us on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, listening now live or on the replay. Remember, wherever you like to listen, whether on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Amazon Music, most especially the iHeartRadio app, please subscribe, download, rate, review the show. It helps us out every single time. We've got a lot to talk about here, but a couple of business items at the top. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Mike Dorenzi and the fine folks at Bud Light for doing all you do. Our friends at Stateside Vodka, hopefully they're going to be back with us for another good tailgate season in the fall. All the City Fitness locations throughout the city, Cavs Rittenhouse and University City, our friends at Chickies and Pete, South Philadelphia, nextsip.com, the safest way to drink hands-free. Bucks County Baseball Company online and in-store. Our good friend JP Lutz from Drexel running the show up there. They've got more online than they have in their store. If you go to the store, you're going to be blown away with all the authentic merchandise and collectibles up there. And, of course, the lovely ladies at Delilah's. I am here. This is Philly Mike Diaz. I'm with my partner in crime, Chris, Sackmaster, Sack Attack, Reggie, hoo-ha-ha. Sack, how you doing, my man?
So it was last week episode 23, but deleted in this week's episode 24 because last week was a train wreck, and I'm happy to be back with you, brother.
Yeah, it's good to have you on. Sack had a little bit of technical difficulties last week. We think we've solved it all, and we'll go forward. No, 24 never happened. This is 24. It's kind of like the Phantom elevator floor, floor 13 or whatever. We're just going to keep going on. We're going to talk Flyers. We're going to talk Sixers. And where they are right here at about the 50% mark here of the season. But we got great news. Today is Tuesday, March 2nd. This just broke today. Or actually yesterday, a couple days ago, the state of Pennsylvania had changed their gathering rules or whatever for events, indoor and outdoor. But of course, we had to wait on the city of Philadelphia to adjust their rules before we can get into games, which who knows? City of Philadelphia, they've got 400,000 people on the payroll. It takes 4 months to get anything done. But today, they did announce the health commissioner said that they're going to put the City of Philadelphia health guidelines back in or in line with the state. So we're going to have fans. We're going to have fans at the Phillies home opener. We're going to have fans at Flyers games. We're going to have fans at Sixers games. Since this is our Flyers Sixers show, I would like Sack, you are a Flyers season ticket holder, so why don't you give the update from the Flyers side, and I'll talk about what the Sixers have to say. What can we expect to get into Flyers games in the next month? When do we start? How much are tickets? Where do we go? Do you have to be a season ticket holder? Are they going to be open to the public? Give me it.
Well, as far as today goes, this news is the second biggest thing about today. Happy second birthday to my baby, Carson. He is the light of our life, and I'm so happy that that you're a part of our lives, buddy. And he's sleeping right now, and he probably wouldn't even know what the hell I was saying anyway. But as far as the Flyers are concerned, the Flyers will have fans in the building this upcoming Sunday, March 7th. So, which is funny because I know a lot of people were complaining today about how if the Penguins could have fans in the stands tonight, we better have fans, when the Sixers, play on Wednesday night. Well, things tend to move a little bit faster, apparently, in Pittsburgh, which is a complete crap hole compared to Philadelphia. But I guess legislation moves a little bit faster in Pittsburgh than it does in Philadelphia. I'll let you touch on that. But the Flyers, we will have fans back in the stands on Sunday. As far as tickets are concerned, the Insider Edge, which is the season ticket base for the Flyers.
Oh, they got a cute name too. The Sixers, we're Society 76.
There you go. Yeah, the Insider Edge members, they get first priority. Now it goes based off of tenure. So newer season ticket holders like myself will be at the back of the line. We'll see how things go. But 3,000 fans is what you're going to be looking at in the stands. So I'm just hoping to get anything. Ticket prices, I'm sure, are going to be, pretty much face value as they normally would be for us. But, you have the bunch of vultures that like to scalp the tickets and put them on the secondary market and drive the prices through the roof right now. That won't be me. I'm ready to go. I want to be there. I also have a little bit of, I'm excited about it. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy that the Flyers, Sixers, and Phillies are going to have fans in the stands. But the Eagles, remember, we only had it for a 3-game stint, and then everything got shut down again. Now, I know things are different now. We have the vaccine, and it tends to be moving, but the state of Pennsylvania and Philadelphia are practically failing in giving out this vaccine. So I'm hoping things are moving in the right direction right now to where we don't have to take the steps backwards now. I want to see 3,000 fans, then 5,000 fans. I want to see this pick up some steam to where we might be able to get back to full arenas. Hopefully at the start of next season. But hey, playoff time for Flyers and Sixers. I think 50% capacity. If we can dream of that, that would be awesome to have. What do you have on your end with the Sixers, Diaz?
Well, before I do touch on the Sixers and tickets, I do want to say I apologize for not saying happy birthday to your son. Saw your updates all over. And thank you for joining the show. I was eating dinner with my lovely wife and our newborn. And my wife said, wait, it's Zach's son's birthday and he's doing a show. And I said, yes, that's dedication. That's dedication to Ice to Shorts. That's exactly what we expect from you and from me and from everybody else involved. But let me ask you this real quick. When do Flyers playoffs start? When is is it mid-April, end of April, NBA is like mid-May, mid-ish May.
Yeah, the way they want the season to wrap up at the latest at the end of July, but we're going to see. I mean, we've had a lot of postponements.
No, I mean regular season. I'm saying.
Well, no, I get you. I know what you're saying, but it might be delayed another week or two because they want to get 56 games in for each team.
So when's that supposed to? Let's just say I expect it to be delayed as well. But what's it scheduled to be? That's my question.
I believe it's end of April.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. I got you. Yeah. I mean, 50%, they're saying it's 15% right now. I think that 50 might be a stretch in a
couple months. Hey,
it's not, we're talking like like 6 weeks, 2 months is 2.5 months. So I think it will make a difference. There was an interesting column on
end of the regular season's May 10th as of right now.
Yeah. So it's almost, it's very similar to the way that the NHL and NBA have it set up where the hockey teams start playoffs like a week to 2 weeks before NBA. I keep bearing the lead here talking about Sixers tickets. We got an email from the team. It looks like they were ready. I got the email before I even knew that this was approved. So the Sixers told me that we have it. They probably had it ready to go. They said that the first game the fans will be back will be Sunday, March 14th. Of course, tomorrow is they play at home against Utah. We'll talk about that later. But that's their last game until the All-Star break. Then they go on the road for a couple, and then that'll be their first home game. So we don't have details about I split my account with the 3 other people. So, we each have like a quarter share of the account, but all the communication comes through me. It just says that we will get details. Be on the lookout later in the week. I don't know if it's going to be they have each account or each seats, and these 2 seats are going to be available for these games. Do you want to purchase tickets? Sometimes what happens with the playoffs, there's extra playoff tickets like up in the rafters, or people that opt out of them because they're you pay, well, who knows what it was this past year, but you pay $35 for a section 206A 12th row ticket. And then in the playoffs, they go for 100. So people opt out of them. And that's just a free for all. Like, hey, here's your secret code. Go online and get them. So it would be nice. I think as a season ticket holder, I'm not even sure if I would be allowed to go to a game. Maybe at that point, Abby would be willing to leave the baby friend at night out, but that's not going to happen. I think it would be easier if they just said, this is your, for your account, you are eligible. We're not guaranteeing you the same seats, but you're eligible for these, there's 17 home games. We're eligible for 4 of them or 5 of them or 3 of them or whatever it is. And just so it's, it's even and we know what those games are. And we can say, yes, we'll buy them. No, we won't. Obviously the playoffs, we'll be in there, and hey, 50% would be great. There's a great column in the Ringer this week. I don't know if you read theringer.com. It's much more NFL and NBA, not as much hockey.
You just got me on The Athletic a few months ago. Do you honestly think I'm jumping on the Ringer right now?
Well, the Ringer's free, so it's like the Bill Simmons site. But there was a column about NBA and like are these 1,500 fans here and 2,500 fans there? Are they making a difference? And they had like a stat rundown, and it is, and the players seem to be reacting better. Both even the visiting team They like having even the fans yelling stuff at them, cheering even if it's faint, it sounds better than like, playing in a mausoleum. But
Oh man, and the fake crowd noise. I can't
yeah,
do another baseball season of that. I just can't. It doesn't feel real because it's not, and it's not natural because it's not. And yeah, the players. I heard Aaron Nola talk about it. After his first start yesterday. Having a couple thousand fans back in the stands just for a spring training game. Like they give you added juice, added momentum. When you're out there on the mound. And it's the same thing for hockey. Like I'm going to be honest with you. I am a diehard Flyers fan. I'm a diehard hockey fan. I can watch any hockey game at any time, but listening to a hockey game or watching a hockey game without fans just doesn't feel right. It's not the same atmosphere. It's not the same environment. And say what you will, like the fans dictate so much as far as momentum is concerned in a hockey game. Like you can watch a basketball game without fans because like at that point, it's kind of like watching a game at the YMCA. You hear the sneakers screeching on the floor. Like you have at least that kind of noise, but man, it is rough to watch a hockey game without having the Let's Go Flyers chants and the Crosby sucks, as much as I don't like that because we always tend to fuel his fire. Like stuff like that, man. It just like I miss having that aspect of a game when you watch it, and I'm looking forward to having it back at whatever level they want to give it to us.
Yeah, we'll see how it translates on the TV, or actually when we're in the building. I hope you get in there. I hope I get in there. I know at least for the Sixers, the last 3 seasons, there's obviously a home court advantage. With the fans in the building. Yeah. And with the Flyers as well. We'll talk about the Sixers last couple weeks and looking forward, but it was a tale of 2 teams the last couple of games. Saturday night versus Cleveland, they just kind of were sleepwalking through the first half, and then tried to kick it in, and they tried to kick it in too much late. And then last night versus Indiana, a better team, a playoff team, could be dangerous team. Indiana's always good. They're like, I don't know, maybe like, I don't know, in the NHL, the Islanders. I don't know, just someone like you can't take lightly. I don't know, someone who's like pretty good, but not going to be winning it all. I'm small market. I don't know. We'll get to that.
Probably Columbus over the last 5 to 6 years.
Maybe something like that.
Like one of those teams that's like, like Nashville. They got into a Stanley Cup final a few years ago. But like, they're there every single year and they just tend to just like get under your skin and bug you. Yeah. Yeah. The Islanders have only started getting under your skin over the last year. And outside of that, you haven't had to worry about them for 25.
Right. But a team like that, that's like you can't, like you got to play tough against. And if there was fans, even if there was 2,500 fans in the building, I don't know, 3,000 fans, a game like that Monday night game against Indiana, the fans would have just propelled them even further. They just build off it. And conversely, a game like they had Saturday night against Cleveland, they would have been booed off. Kicking it in and turning it on late, they would have been booed in the first period, or first quarter, which would hopefully would have kicked them in. So yeah, fans in the stands always better. Especially for our teams here, really the greatest fans around. And I think that everyone will be excited to be in there. I think if there's boos, we'll see about the Sixers, but Flyers, Phillies, it might be more of a, we're glad you're back. We're glad you're back. This is a loving boo. Like, yeah, like, come on guys, pick it up. Everyone's got something to say about these teams. So let's start with the Flyers first, because at this point last week, before you had your technical difficulties, it wasn't looking as hot for the Flyers coming off that big time loss on national TV to Boston in Lake Tahoe. But they were undermanned and everything, and they've been undermanned. But the last week they're starting to get players back. They beat a Rangers team that was that they were undermanned as well. And then you and I talked yesterday, 2 shutouts back to back. I'm like, come on, Buffalo, give me a break. But it still counts. Two shutouts back to back. I'm going to break down the Sixers schedule moving forward. 3 in a row by the Flyers. That's great. They're in a good position right now. They're getting guys back. What's their schedule look like coming up for the next couple of weeks? I know they've got makeup games. These 3 games, is this something that I should, wins are always good, but is this, oh, they're building momentum, or is it kind of like, hey, the fact that they got any points as they get these guys back, this is a good deal. They're not even playing as well as they need to be or can be.
Yeah, it was funny because last week before my headphones crapped out, and then I couldn't hear you, obviously, and then you weren't hearing me on the mic, and then everything was kind of crap in the bed for us there. We were talking on the pre-show, and I was saying how this was starting to get to the part of the schedule where the Flyers could really start to make up some ground with or without their players that they were missing. Listen, that game against Boston, as we were discussing before the show last week, the show, I'll quote that. That game right there, the ice was terrible. The conditions were terrible. It played nice. It looked beautiful, being right there on Lake Tahoe, but it wasn't a good look for the Flyers on national TV, which was actually one of the higher rated. I think it was the highest rated outdoor games since its inception, which is saying a lot for the Flyers and the Bruins. But they have slowly started to get players back. Last week, they got Claude Giroux back, 3 assists against the Rangers. Big win against them, even though they were still missing 4 of their guys. And then they got Braun back and Voracek, Lindblom, Lawton. So, it was funny because Vigneault was saying on Saturday he was going to create his COVID line, which was Lawton, Lindblom, and Voracek. So that line, he wants to keep that line together. And then we just got the last piece of the puzzle. Travis Konechny returned tonight against the Penguins. This is a big week for the Flyers, especially now that earlier today the news came out that Crosby's going to be out for the next couple weeks. He's going to be on the COVID list. So for me, you're on the COVID list. You're going to be out the 14 days, just like the rest of the Flyers were during their stints being out. So, we got 3 games all in Pittsburgh. So the Flyers have to spend a whole week in Pittsburgh. God bless your heart.
Oh my God. So many mullets and jean shorts and British Knights. Oh
yeah. And then, on top of it, Primani Brothers sandwiches, which are overrated. I do enjoy Pittsburgh. I ran my best friend's bachelor party out there. And then my bachelor party was ran out there as well. So it's a good time. But yeah, they have to spend the whole week there. And then they have the Capitals on Sunday night, which is going to be the first night where we have fans back in the stands. And then you have the Sabres, the Capitals for 2. So I was saying to you last week before the show that this portion of the schedule, the Rangers, Buffalo back-to-back, having the Penguins 3 times in a row, because we were going to have another show this week. This was a big part of their schedule to where they could really make up points. And they have to. They have a couple games in hand right now. But that Buffalo stint over the weekend, the big thing was, yes, I know you're saying back-to-back shutouts against the Buffalo. Big deal. The Flyers have the worst penalty kill in the NHL. Buffalo had the best power play in the NHL, and we shut them out in back-to-back games. That right there is a big telling part of the weekend. Brian Elliott came back on Thursday and Saturday, played very well in both games. And then Carter Hart.
Of course. Carter Hart was, Carter Hart was at home. Brian Elliott, starting goalie. Starting goalie, Brian Elliott. You know it, and I know it.
Carter Hart got the shutout on Sunday, and he's playing well again tonight against the Penguins in a 1-1 game as we speak right now.
Let me ask you this, though. Let me ask you, because you go on a stream of consciousness, and I don't get my questions in. So I want to just real briefly on Buffalo here. I don't pay attention to. I pay attention to the Flyers. I pay attention to just the team. I don't pay attention to the league as a whole. Why is Buffalo trading Jack Eichel?
Because they've sucked with him, and what does it matter? For them, they're looking to trade him and pick up assets. So right now, I think they're shopping him. He hasn't directly demanded a trade yet, but I'm pretty sure he wants to get out of Buffalo. I mean, who the hell wouldn't? And so he wants to get out of there, and they're going to get a haul for him. I mean, the guy's 24 years old. He's one of the top centers in the league. Wherever he goes, the Rangers right now are being the team that is highly touted as the team that he's more likely to go to, which is okay because the Rangers aren't that good of a team. And if they unload a bunch of their current players and draft picks and prospects, Eichel hasn't won with Buffalo. He hasn't made any difference there. So if he goes to the Rangers, it's, empty out your holster and pick him up, you're still going to suck. So, if that's where he goes, I'd like the Flyers to dip their toe in the waters a little bit. Maybe we can bring him in here because we have a pretty deep farm system and we have a couple guys that are currently on the roster that you can look to trade. So if if a deal comes to fruition and you want to pull the trigger, I wouldn't be opposed to it, Chuck Fletcher.
Let me ask you this: with Buffalo, what are their front? Is their front office? Did they have a change at all? Like Jack, he's been in the league for what, 5 years, 4, 5, 6 years, something like that.
I mean, he was drafted at 18. He's been in the league ever since. So
okay, so 6 years. Okay, so 2015-ish, 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
Have they changed front offices in the meantime?
I would assume so. They've probably done it a couple times. It's Buffalo.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's disappointing. You think it is by having a salary cap, and that's and we'll debate that forever. Having salary caps will make players stay because they go elsewhere. It's so much about management and ownership. Ownership at the beginning. Now we'll talk about the Eagles on Green Legion Radio on Thursday. And we're going, hard against Howie because you can't, the owner can't sell the team. But Terry Pagula, is that his name? Terry Pagula, the Penn State dude.
That's on you, man. Who's that?
Terry Pagula. He owns Buffalo. He owns the Sabres.
Good for him. I don't know who the owner. I don't know who the owner is.
Wow. I'm going to teach you some hockey stuff here. So he built.
Please enlighten me.
He built Penn State, a state of the art hockey center. Penn State's now like a top 10 national, like top. They made it in the Final Four. Penn State's like he's a Penn State graduate. Invested in them, and he owns something else too. What else does he own? It's not the Bills. He owns the Sabres, and I think he owns something else. I don't know. But anyway, Terry Pagula owns that. So we like him I like him for the Penn State stuff, but
I hate Penn State, so I could care less.
But anyway, back to the Flyers here. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this when we get to the Sixers. I see a lot of similarities to where the teams kind of are and some of the narratives around them, where they stand within their respective leagues and conferences. But what I mean about that is they're both very good teams. They're both have to be considered as contenders in their conference to make their respective finals, but they both have glaring, obvious weaknesses. Some of it might be personnel. With the Flyers, what I don't get is this. I don't understand how. Now, it hasn't been the last 2 games, okay? But like the whole season, they've played 25 games or whatever, 19 games so far. And except for the last 2 games or 1 game, they get outshot by like a wide margin. Not one of these, well, they shot 32, we shot 29, you get outshot, it's hard to win. It's like 30-18. But they're so, if they were basketball, they're so effective with their shots. They'll win the game 4-3, but they only had 18 shots, or they'll lose the game 4-3. The other team had 35 shots. They have 18. Is this a scheme thing? Is it that they're not pulling the trigger quick enough or fast enough? They're hunting too much for the perfect shot on offense. Is there a transition problem from, between the blue lines, between defense and offense of setting up a play, and they just don't have that player or that scheme that can, help develop shots? Or is it just they just keep passing it around? What's the issue here? Or is it all of the above?
It's a lot of all of the above, to be honest with you. Now, from my perspective, I think a lot of it has to do with their defensive breakdowns. Right now, their defensive structure has not been playing well at all this season up until this last weekend. Hopefully, this is a step in the right direction moving forward. But they need another veteran defenseman on the back end to help out. A guy that's going to play alongside Provorov. I think that's going to balance out the rest of the blue line. And when you have good transitions coming out from the back end, moving the puck up, it allows your forwards to have a step or two more towards the offensive zone. It allows them to get into the offensive zone quicker, faster, and on the forecheck behind the net faster and on top of the defenseman, because right now they have to tend to stay back a little bit, which takes away from our forward pressure going up. When you're a forward and you're exerting most of your energy in your defensive zone, that's not helping us, because as soon as you're pretty much gassed on the defensive side of the puck, by the time you're done and we get the puck out of the zone, we're already on the line change and the possessions already went back to the other team. So that right there, they need a veteran, steady defenseman at the trade deadline. To me, that's the biggest thing. They're deep up front. I still wish they had a guy up front that could put the puck in the net from anywhere, but they don't grow on trees, and they're not exactly guys that are being shopped right now. So you're not going to be able to get a guy like that. You need to balance out the rest of your roster. It's got to start on the defensive side of the puck. And, the guys that are up front, James Van Riemsdyk has played out of his mind this season. I had no idea that he ever had this side in him. I wish we had this side in him when we drafted him after Patrick Kane was taken ahead of us. But he's played very well this year. I know you put on the run sheet about standouts. To me, he's the biggest standout on the team this year. We don't have many, and that's saying a lot for a team that is 0-3-2 against the Boston Bruins, yet 11-1-1 against the rest of the division. So that right there, they need to get a more physical presence, puck moving defenseman in the back end, someone that's going to be able to battle with the Boston Bruins because eventually we are going to meet them in the playoffs again.
The Flyers, the Flyers are touted as, or the story behind them is very process-like by Ron Hextall, drafting, not overspending, taking your time, being patient, building up the farm club, or
he had to,
club. Yeah,
he had to,
and now they've got all these young players, which is great. Which is awesome. That's exactly what you want. Now, not all of them are stars. There's some of them going to fit in role play. They're role players now, but they're doing what they're supposed to do. Is it too early, or is it too early to say it might be time to cash some of those pieces in? Because we're going to talk about this with the Sixers and the trade deadline, and the Sixers versus the Sixers and kind of what the Celtics are in right now. There's a whole lot of listen. The Knicks fans are crazy right now. If you're paying attention to some Celtics fans, they want everyone fired. Danny Ainge, Brad Stevens, they want them all out of here. So we'll talk about that in the NBA. But is it time where you might say, some nice guys, some good players, where it might be something where, because that's what I see too. The goal scoring. That's where they were lacking in the playoffs last year. Hey man, maybe you trade a couple first round picks, get that veteran defenseman. With a couple years left on his deal, and then maybe you cash in a couple of young guys who are good, who are promising, but right now might be on the third line or tops in the AHL or whatever. Is it too early to do that? Is it too early to kind of push some more chips in? Is this a year that is the East wide open, or is it something where we like what we got. We don't want to mess up a good thing. We don't want to rock the cart or anything like that.
I find it funny that, like I said to you about as far as standouts on this team, JVR, Sean Couturier, Joel Farabee, Giroux has had his moments early in the season. Kevin Hayes, we have not had a lot of bright spots so far about this season. Yet here we are in a competitive state to where I think we can beat anybody when we get to the playoffs. We just have to solve our demons against the Boston Bruins. And the way the NHL playoffs are set up this year is it goes by division. So the top 4 teams in each division get in, and you won't play anybody from any other division until you get to the conference finals. Now, on our end of things.
So wait, let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
So let's right now, or as of Saturday, whatever. And this is only because they played fewer games, but the Flyers were in 4th because they just had the lowest amount of points. Maybe that's changed, but it wasn't because they're the 4th best team. It was just, they only played 15 games and everyone else had played 19 games. So would it be like the 4th place team in the Mass Mutual Eastern Division? Would they play the first seed from the the Scotiabank Northern Division? Is it 4v1? Or is it just based on record?
No.
How's that going to work?
So in your division, so say if the Bruins finish with the best record in the division, okay, and the Flyers finish with the 4th best record in the division, that will be your first round matchup. And then you'll have Capitals, Islanders, Capitals, Penguins, whatever it is. This is just all hypothetical, but they'll play each other in the 2-3 matchup. And then, then you'll get in the second round, if the Flyers advance past the Bruins, then you'll get the Capitals or the Islanders or the Penguins, however it goes. Because the other three teams, you don't really need to rely. The Sabres, the Devils, and the Rangers, they're practically out of it. The way I look at it, because everyone said a division of death. I don't look at it that way. But then you will, in the conference finals, you'll get a team like the Panthers, the Lightning, teams that are in that division. And then on the other side, you'll have, like the Blackhawks division and the Canadian division. So that's how it will break down. So what you
the Scotiabank Northern Division.
There you go. So what you want as a Flyers fan and what you want as the Flyers is you want to avoid a first round matchup. And I'm not looking for an easy way out. I'm not looking, but I know we talked before the show about the NBA. You want the easiest road there, and you want hopefully somebody is going to take care of your dirty work for you.
Right. I made the mistake. I don't know if it's a huge mistake or anything, but talk about the 2008 Phillies, which we also talked about before the show. I was like, I want to face the Red Sox. And I remember my friends were like, what are you talking about? We want to win a World Series. We want the World Series doesn't count less if you beat and I'm like, I want to beat the champs. And, maybe we would have beat the Red Sox that year. But yeah. A championship is a championship. You win the championship. It doesn't matter who the other team was. You win the championship. That's how the tournament goes. Yeah. You want the easiest road in.
Yeah.
Definitely. In all sports.
And the funny thing is the Phillies that year, we dodged the top teams pretty much on both sides of things. I mean, we dodged, like the Cubs got wiped out. The Cubs were the best team in the National League that year, and the Dodgers beat them, and then we got the Dodgers. And we had home field advantage against them. And then, you get into the World Series. I wanted Tampa just because I wanted to go to a World Series game, and it was $185 for a ticket down in Tampa. And me and my dad flew down the day of game one, and we caught the game down there. So that's what I wanted. But yeah, man, like you kind of want to take the easier road if you can. And you know how things have gone against Boston this year. And there's been a few of those games have been tight. And a couple of those games turned into blowouts. So, I think, like I said, if the Flyers can just add a piece or two, they have to get tougher against that team. Now, I'm not saying they have to be gritty. We have to fight. All that.
Come on, I bleed orange and black. You got to be gritty and fight.
Yeah, man. I don't need
hustle.
I don't need any of that crap. I just need you to be more physical on the puck. Don't let them push you around. Give it back to them. So. But that's how it would break down. So top 4 teams, 1 and 4 in a division, 2 and 3 in a division. That's how the playoffs will break down.
Well, this is a good time to transition into the NBA because, like I said, a lot of similarities between the Flyers and the Sixers. The Sixers might not have a team. Well, Toronto.
Hold on. You're not going to torch Carter Hart?
Okay, yeah, you're right. I skipped over that just because of the time. We're about halfway through here.
It's okay. It's all right. If you can go to the NBA, we're fine.
No. So
looks like he's playing. Never mind.
What is the deal with Carter Hart? What are they down 3-1 now?
Yeah, it's 3-1 now. Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't even look at it. How did I know? They're on the road. Why is listen? Listen, I want Carter Hart to be successful, and he's way too young for anyone to freak out about it. This is how I feel about Ben Simmons. This is how I feel about Maxey. This is how I feel about Matisse. And like it's way not saying that these guys are all going to be like super duper stars, but we are like they were top picks. They got to be XXXXX. And and I heard all the stuff about Carter Hart, and he's came out, showed flashes. He does make some kick-ass saves. But there's a lot of struggle in there, and a lot of it seems to be mental, which is fine because there's a lot of pressure. He's been given the name of the savior, and now people want him to live up to it. And what's going on with him is totally normal. It's just like a pitcher, or any sport, quarterback, basketball player, hitter. You come up, you start showing all this promise, which is what was expected, and then other teams start to scout you and start to figure out. They start finding weaknesses. They exploit those weaknesses. It gets loud in the room about the weaknesses and how the people that said I love him except for these weaknesses, they start saying, oh well, I was right, all these weaknesses. And then it's up to the player to make his or their adjustments and get better. And I think Carter Hart will be okay. But, the stats are the stats, and we could pick and choose each individual game, man. But he just at home, he is an all-star at home. He's an all-star. And on the road, he's like Carson Wentz was in 2020. And that's just how it is right now. But it won't be like that forever. But Zach, I'll tell you though, in the playoffs, like, I don't know if it's as much as in hockey, quarterbacks or goalies, like you're not going to, Jalen Hurts would be a better start versus the Cowboys, and Carson Wentz would be a better start. We don't even need to go down that road. But I mean, it's undeniably different between home and the road. And once you get into the playoffs, you got to win. You're going to have to win some games on the road. I don't think there's any shame in doing that. I don't know if that's kind of the norm in hockey, whether they would make that change. Is that something they would do? Game plan for that?
You're talking about making a change in a road game and a playoff game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, you want to win the game. So if you're down 3-0 at the end of the first period and you're looking for a jump start,
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, okay, the Flyers are the 2 seed and they're playing the 6 seed. The 2 home games, they start Carter Hart. Then they go on the road to Toronto, and they start Brian Elliott. Like, there's they pull him. Like, I mean, it's just, okay, we'll wait to see how many goals he gives up. If he gives up at less than 3 in 2 periods, like, that's like, you're inviting danger there,
Listen, the Flyers have made it to 2 Stanley Cup finals in my lifetime, from my remembrance. 1997, they pretty much split the time between Garth Snow and Ron Hextall, and they got to the Stanley Cup finals. Then you had Brian Boucher start the playoffs, because Leighton was hurt, and then Leighton came back, then Bush got hurt, and then Leighton carried it the rest of the way. So, goalies are weird. Like goalies are like a relief pitcher.
They are. They're weird.
A closer. You need to have a certain mentality. You tick a certain way. The kid's 22 years old. I look at Carter right now, and I don't see what I saw last year. Sometimes you tend to get in your own head. And at the beginning of the year, he made a couple statements like, hey, I don't want to be the best goalie. I want to be the best player in the league. And he's not playing that way. He knows he's not playing that way. And, it's frustrating for him. It's frustrating for the fans, because we all love Carter Hart and we want him to play well. But I think people are tending to over-exaggerate with what's going on with him. I think a lot of times, man, you're a product of the players that are around you. And the defense, which I have bashed on this program numerous amount of times, has not played well in front of him. And we have the worst penalty kill in the NHL. So a lot of that doesn't help a goaltender either when you don't have the defensive structure in front of a goaltender, regardless of who it is and we all know it's just like the backup quarterback, right? The backup quarterback, everyone's like, oh man, well, look at what Nick Foles did against the Rams in 2018. Man, that's the backup quarterback syndrome. It's like the backup goaltender in the NHL.
Let's be fair though. The backup, the quote unquote backup, wins more on the road over the last 2 seasons, not 2 games. This isn't like this guy's stinking, we should put him in. It's like, no, there's plenty. This is not a small sample size kind of thing, like the Nick Foles thing.
I'm not talking about the road. Last year is what it is. I think things would have ended differently for the Flyers last year if COVID never hit and the pandemic never hit with the way, oh God, Bourbon Diaz is coming. But
yeah, baby.
I think things would have been different last year. And that's saying a lot. We made it to the second round. We made it to game 7. And I know that's not great for Hollis. And I know you're probably going to laugh at me too, because they always like to break your stones about it on the big show. But I tend to look at it, man, things would have been a little bit differently last year. They would have ended differently. Would they have won the cup? I don't know. But I think the way that team was rolling, and then you have to take as much time off as we did, it took a little wind out of our sails. So, but this year, I think eventually here, somewhere along the line, Carter's going to hit his stride. Obviously, it's 3-1 tonight. I don't know what the goals look like. One of them's a power play goal, but we'll see how it goes. So we can, just move on to the Sixers and let's talk about the other team in town.
Yeah, let's talk some Sixers, man. That's what I came here for. Enough with this Flyer stuff. I was even going to let you off the hook and not even talk about Carter Hart in the middle of this game. If we record tomorrow, I'll bring it up on the big show. So, NBA Sixers. Good news, bad news. I'm going to tell you how I feel about the rest of the season. You can tell me how wrong I am. I'm going to tell you how right I am. Right now, they're 23-12. They're first place in the Eastern Conference, 15-3 at home 8-9 on the road, 5-5 over the last 10 games, and we'll get back to that. The good news. We still got one game. This is before the Utah game, Wednesday the 3rd. That'll be a big Wednesday. Utah has the best record in the league. They were just blowing by teams. They had win streaks of like 10 in a row, 7 in a row. They've stumbled in the last couple of games, but they're in first, which means Doc Rivers is the coach, the head coach of the Kevin Durant All-Star team in the All-Star game. Joel Embiid is still an MVP candidate. He had a couple poor games or not as best of his games. Last night he was amazing versus Indiana. Ben Simmons has come alive.
I mean, would you put
Joel?
Would you say that Joel is, to me, I look at him as the leading candidate because, well,
I'll make this real simple. I don't know. Of course. I mean, he's my favorite player. He's my favorite player since Iverson. Even before he even stepped on the court, he was my favorite player. So I'm not the best person to ask, but I'll tell you what, both DraftKings and FanDuel, he's got the second best odds behind LeBron James right now.
Man, LeBron looks so great with that team going in the tank.
Well, without Anthony Davis. Oh, well, you need some people around you.
I mean,
we'll talk about that too, because the second half is going to look real tough. And you had a comment before we started. About it. So Ben Simmons, ever since this Harden talk, he's come alive. Now, I'd like to, first of all, some of it's mindset. Kyle, the Gobbler troll, which is his name, it was always like, oh, look at this stat line. Ben Simmons, 0 field goal attempts in the first half. Definitely not good. But also, I think that he's been encouraged to get more aggressive. It's what we like to see. There's a trade-off there with when he's more aggressive going to the hoop instead of those stupid I'm driving and turning around and passing to an open three. The three-point attempts have gone down, but Ben Simmons is playing lights out. Defensive Player of the Year. He's going to get votes. I don't know if he'll be first or second or third, but he will be right. If not first, he's going to be right there. Joel Embiid, same thing. MVP. We'll talk about the second half. He's right there, and you talk about that. Claude Giroux is a top 5 finisher. Sixers are winning games. Joel Embiid is unstoppable. It seems more like the only person that can stop Joel Embiid is Nick Nurse, the head coach of the Toronto Raptors, because whenever they play against Toronto, they just don't go. The bad news is this. It's almost kind of like this recurring theme. The bench last night versus Indiana, the bench was amazing. The bench was awesome. If they get those types of bench turnouts, the Sixers will be in at least the Eastern Conference Finals, if not the finals. Their weak spot is bench scoring. They have some a little weak spot on the starting lineup, but bench scoring, a big guy that can shoot, which is what every team has now. It's not all post-ups anymore, people. And they need guards. They need guys that can dribble and create their own shot. It's like the Flyers need goal scoring. The Sixers need someone, a ball handler, secondary ball handler to Ben Simmons, and they need a backup big that's not like Dwight. That's like a guy that can shoot threes, because and those two things are it. When Ben Simmons was out, and you saw like Danny Green's bringing the ball up and Seth Curry. It's just they're just not going to win. You're like, you should be able to. The Sixers should be good enough to win with that. It's like, man, but they don't have that much. Tyrese Maxey is a rookie, so good news, bad news. The good news is they're in first place, right? They've had an easy schedule, but they're in first place. That's a good thing. The bad news is I don't think that they're the best team in the Eastern Conference right now without some moves. I saw you put your. Well, I was just on the stream right there.
No,
you had a question or a comment.
No, I mean, in my opinion, the reason why their bench was so unstoppable last night was because they started Mike Scott, and that bum wasn't coming off the bench last night. I saw their starting lineup last night, and I'm like, holy crap, Mike Scott is starting. I know, and that leads into my question for you, Tobias. Are we expecting him back tomorrow night, or do you think this is their last game before the All-Star break? Right. So, in my opinion, I don't play Tobias Harris tomorrow night. I give him another week off. I know he wants to play, but Doc has to be smart here. Like the back end of the schedule, as you said, is brutal. And it's not just brutal on who they play, it's how often they play. He needs to be smart about this because, saving those minutes on Tobias, Ben, and Joel are going to be huge in the backstretch.
All teams are kind of, I don't want to say religious about their minutes, but if there's a way, if he's good to go, then I would play him and I would keep him on the dreaded minutes restriction. I don't know like exactly how that would form. If it's up in the air, they're not sure. He'll test it before the game. I don't know. He has it's a bone bruise, and I've had bone bruises and knee bone bruises, and some of them are like they kill and it's going to be 3 weeks, and other times it really is. It could just be like a week. Like you never know. Like. Yeah. So I don't know exactly how his is, and they haven't really said anything. They said that he'd like to play. They hope to have him back. It's funny. You see without him on the court, he's certainly missed when he's not on the court. Is he worth 30? Is he the 13th best player in the league deserving of that salary that he's got? No, but he's not trash. And if he's not worth 36 million a year, I'm making up the number. Maybe he's worth 26 or 28. So it's not like he's a terrible player and he stinks. It's just like you're paying for all-star level guy and he's just fringe all-star. If there's 12 guys on the all-star team, he's like between 13 and 20 in the conference. So he's not top 13 guy in the league. He might be top 13 guy in the conference. So would I sit if it's up in the air? Yeah, you sit him. And let's talk, because you made a great point right there. Let's talk about the remaining schedule. They've got 36 games in 67 days with 9 back-to-backs. Now, like,
oh man,
let me comment on this back-to-backs because I got my friend group. I've got you. Well, you just do it because you like being a troll and lighting me up. And I got friends.
Hold on. Okay. I am a relevant troll. Okay. I am your co-host here. Well, and I,
that's true. Yeah.
Listen, I could chime in on Twitter along with your buddies as much as I want if I want to. But a lot of times you guys try and get me riled up when I'm working. And I'm like, I can't go back and forth with you on Twitter all day.
Listen, the Axis of Evil, my buddies, they like my one guy,
Ian Moran, he's funny as hell.
He has idiot. My buddy Ian, his arguments are terrible, but his Photoshop skills are unmatched.
Phenomenal.
He makes some good stuff. But then, like my other buddy Rob Roy, who we have battles going back 20 years to college. He became friends with these dudes through Facebook, through making fun of me and like getting after me on these things. So, but anyway, let me just talk. Hold up for a second. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you. You're frozen.
Okay, so we'll just.
Am I good?
Yeah, you're perfect.
Okay.
Let me know if the audio. I'll edit this out. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. A little bit about this whole back-to-back and everything like that. I have people that like to argue about schedule losses, and schedule losses aren't. It's not some stat thing. It's not some geek thing. It's not some nerd thing. It happens all the time in basketball and hockey. And it's really pretty simple. It's just like this. The Flyers, they win 62% of their games, right? Right now. On back-to-backs, they win 52% of their games. It doesn't mean that they stink or that they're giving up. Oh, shit. Oh, I see right here. My camera was unplugged.
Oh, that's what happened?
Yeah, let me see that. Let me bring it back.
You've never looked better, Diaz.
All right, there we. Oh shit! Now we got to change this up. Make a note of this here, / to edit this out. There we go. We're all back.
There you are.
We're all back. So anyway, this is how it goes here. We're at 50. I have to check 49, minute 50. We'll start this up here. All this back-to-back and schedule losses means that if you isolate the back-to-backs out of the rest of the team's games, you're going to see a noticeable difference. The Flyers were the same way last year. I remember looking at the Flyers, taking out the back-to-back games. They played 12 back-to-backs or something like that. They won not even the stupid participation points. They won like 70% of their games. And then with the back-to-backs, they only won 50% of those games. Doesn't mean that they give up. Doesn't mean that they're weak. It doesn't mean that they're soft. It just means they're tired. And in the NBA, it's the same thing. You play a game tonight in Philly, and then you got to fly to Memphis to play another game tomorrow. You're landing at 4 a.m. You're checking into the hotel. You're sleeping all day. You get up. You're in an unfamiliar place. You don't have your training staff. You don't have the hot tub and the cold tub. You don't have all that stuff. It just means you're tired. So the rest of the way for the Sixers, they've got 36 games in 67 days. That's like, I think it's 1.9, a game every 1.9 days. So they have less than a day of recovery between games. Does this mean they're soft or weak or we should give up? It doesn't mean that. It just means they're going to be tired. And when you're tired, you get hurt. And that's just the facts of the game. So if the Sixers have
or if you're walking your dog.
Or if you're walking your dog, if you're a 42-year-old man. That's possible. Which, by the way, I just celebrated my 1-year anniversary of my torn quad. My surgery was on February 26th. I am doing much better. Thank you very much. But what this means here for this, you had said something earlier, Sack, that I don't want to say I disagree with. You had said that you want the Sixers to have the number 1 seed so they could avoid the Nets and the Bucks or whoever, or if the Heat come up or whoever, the 2-3 matchup. You want to avoid that. And obviously, I would love to have the number 1 seed because it's just generally the easier way in. That said, though, I think health is more important than any type of seeding. And with these back-to-backs, that's 25% of the remaining games are back-to-backs. So, expect guys to sit down the stretch. I don't like it. It's just the way it is. And it's been proven that guys without rest get hurt more often in all sports. This is why in the NFL, we think it's BS that Dallas gets a home Thursday game every single year, and Detroit doesn't really matter every single year. That's just unfair. It should flip every other year. It's the same thing with back-to-backs. The Sixers are a good team. They're going to lose more often on back-to-backs than not. Doesn't make them soft. Doesn't make them weak. It's just the way it is. They're going to try and win. They're just going to be tired. You normally on a back-to-back, I'll hit it right back to you in a second. But normally on a back-to-back, this is what you see. The first half, probably generally, depending on who they play, they're in it. Maybe they're playing, give me somebody here. Indiana, for example. They go in the half. They are down 52-48. And then in the third quarter, they start front rimming everything. And when players start front rimming, especially in the second half, it just means their legs are tired. They're not getting the same lift. And what I see with the Sixers down the stretch, man, that's 25% of their games. I don't. It's going to be the same with all the other teams too. But the Sixers have big holes. Big holes. We'll see how Morey fills them.
How big? Diaz?
We'll see how Daryl Morey fills them. I just don't see. I don't think they're the best team in the conference. They're incomplete. The Sixers told us that at the beginning of the year. This is not, don't think this team is final. We'll see what they can do at the end of the year. But health is more important than standings and seeding. I hate to tell you that.
I understand your premise, okay? But from my point of view, I want them to get the first seed. I don't think they're going to get the first seed. So, listen, I think the Nets, what benefits the Nets, okay, they have 3 top 10 players in the league on their team. So, like a guy like Kevin Durant has been out the last couple weeks with a bad hamstring, right? So the benefit of him sitting on the sidelines is you still have James Harden and Kyrie Irving that can score the basket, or score the ball in the basket.
Yeah.
So and eventually they're going to have to rest their players, kind of like the Sixers tend to like to do. All right, Joel, you're going to take this back-to-back, this night on the back-to-back off. Simmons, you're going to get this, because that's how they're going to have to be smart to manage their minutes down the stretch. Because even though we'd like to think that Ben is in fantastic shape, Ben has broken down, twice last year, right?
And that back injuries. I got a back injury. I'm telling you, I'm telling everyone, even with Embiid has lower back tightness. That just screams herniation,
which is why Embiid should not play on Sunday, but he's going to play. It's the All-Star game, and you can't tell All-Star what to do.
He said he thought it was a dumb idea. Like all these players saying it's dumb. I understand you got to take care of your TV partners and stuff like that. It's just, is there another way to do this? It's just an all-star game in this. The whole point of the all-star break was, they were going to award like all-star, I made the all-star, but we weren't going to all-star game, but we weren't going to actually play the game. There's not going to be a weekend of partying and stuff like that in whatever the city is. It's just, it sounds so dumb. I hope that they're just kind of like just jog. I hope it's a terrible game. It normally is, but
I was about to say it normally is. And I think Adam Silver consulted with the governor of Texas on this issue, so.
Well, it's in Atlanta.
I know. The joke is, remember today, did you hear what happened in Texas?
No, what happened?
So Texas has opened 100% back up.
Oh, yes, everything. That's right. No masks.
The mask mandate. Yeah. But then, hey, let's still follow health guidelines. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, jackass. And Liz, I still think, I know when we talked about fans at the beginning of the show, I still think we have a couple months left in this thing to where we really need to follow the guidelines and allow the vaccine to be more widespread and get more people involved with it.
Where's our vaccine? Let's go.
Why
is so slow? Let's move this.
I'm somewhere on a couple lists here. I'm trying.
Well, you've got antibodies. You're good for 6 months or so.
Oh, screw that crap, man. I don't want to even think about getting that crap again. I can't wait to get these blood thinner medications away from me. You've got antibodies. Oh, a couple. Let me hit a couple of points here with the Sixers too. And this is just NBA in general. A friend, the sports director, I don't know what Sports Direct TV, whatever. Nick Barchetta on Twitter. He's a lonely guy, lots of drinking by himself, but I couldn't tell, one time he was watching us.
Yeah. But he makes his comment, but it is so true. And and he's not the only one that's made it.
Oh, is he making this comment now?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
But it's something that
I wanted him to see me call him a jackass.
I saw him I saw him say this yesterday during the game. And unfortunately it's true. Other people have said it. This is not his thing. It's getting to be in the NBA because of the way the rules are that before you look at the score, don't even look at the score of the game. Look at the 3-point attempts and look at the 3-point shooting percentage and start at the attempts. Who has more? If it's by a wide margin, that team, the team with the higher attempts won. Now, if check the percentages too. If you've shot 33 threes and you've made 12%, you probably didn't win. But that's the name of the game. It's across all teams. It doesn't matter what you do. James Harden, Joel Embiid, post-ups, mid-range, pick and roll. It just really comes down to threes, and that's what happened last night. It sounds like Embiid was frustrated on Saturday. He didn't put the best effort on Saturday versus Cleveland, but after the game, he said, we got to shoot more threes. They only shot like 24 threes or something like that. They come out the next game versus Indiana. They shoot 34 threes, and they win the game, and they shot well. That's always the key. You got to make your shots.
But it's part about that game was the fact that Embiid and Simmons didn't have to play the fourth quarter.
That's right.
Best part about that game, man. Just put your foot on the other team's throat and leave them to die, and let those guys rest.
It's true. And Furkan Korkmaz. I hated him last year. I loved him this year. But he's always at the right spot. He always throws up a good shot. When he was been pretty questionable the last few games, or last couple of weeks. But last game he really came through. Hey guys, let Joel and Simmons shoot the 2-point attempts in the paint. Shoot threes. We need 3-point. Redick might be washed. I don't know if they'll bring him back. The guy that I want. All these rumors. Who do we got here? Bielitsa, Oladipo, Kyle Lowry. Let's make a move for Kyle Lowry. Let's go. And I was against the pushing in the chips for Jimmy Butler back then because I thought that he was a rental, and I thought that they weren't ready to go all in like that. And then they went all in on Harris, and we had to re-sign him and everything. But man, what a better what could be a better narrative? Kyle Lowry. He's an expiring contract. You trade Danny Green, but you'd have to give up something. I don't know if it's Matisse or Maxey or Shake Milton. Really wouldn't want to give up Shake, but man, Kyle Lowry is the exact type of player that we could use right now. I know he's been out the last couple of games, but man, he plays defense. He gets in there. He can shoot a spot up three. He can ball handler. Kyle Lowry is exactly what this team needs. I don't know what it's going to take if they would even make him available. But how awesome would that be if Kyle Lowry comes back down here and helps the team make a run and ending in an NBA championship? I don't think that'll happen. But that would be perfect. I want to go all in for Kyle Lowry. Am I an idiot?
Yes.
Am I an idiot for wanting to go all in on Kyle Lowry?
The Raptors are still on a playoff spot right now, right? They're in playoff position. So I don't envision them making that move unless something drastically happens here over the next couple of weeks. When's the trade deadline?
March 25th.
All right. So unless things fall apart over the next few weeks, I don't see them making that move unless they're blown away by an offer. And one of these other teams is going to be able to make them a better offer than we would be able to. Now, Oladipo, to me, I am more intrigued by him. I like Oladipo. I have liked Oladipo since he came into the league. Now, is he going to be on the trade market from the Rockets, or is he going to like? I know Cousins is getting bought out, right? And Drummond's going to get bought out from the Cavaliers. So like one of those guys is going to wind up with the Nets. So they're going to solve a hole for them as far as a big man's concerned. So we need a guy like Oladipo. That to me, like, and he's younger than Lowry. I mean, I would love to have younger legs, but a guy that can hit a big shot like Oladipo has proven to do.
Well, this is the thing, though. This is the thing. First off, I think Cousins is just out. He's like Drummond. They're holding back, hoping for a trade, and honestly, that's what we want. We want Drummond to get traded because if he is bought out, the way the NBA works here, just a little refresher. If you are one of these buyout guys, what happens is you get your money and then you can sign with any team that you want, and it's always at the minimum. So when a player's bought out, they get to choose where they want to go. They could choose whether it's for a role like Drummond, big man. That's what the Nets need, or they think there's an opportunity for future contract or whatever the case may be. So once a guy reaches that buyout stage, like the money's the same anywhere they go. So, we don't want him to get bought out. But as far as Oladipo goes, the big news of him this week is that he turned down this 2-year, $43 million deal from the Rockets. And that's just because that doesn't mean he wouldn't come back with the Rockets. That just means that's all that the Rockets could offer right now. Once he hits free agency, the Rockets do have his bird rights. They could sign him for longer than any other team. The thing is I guess it matters what's the cost. Larry is exactly what we want, and he's in an expiring contract. And I think Larry doesn't expect to get signed for another 4-year deal after the fact. He's a hometown guy. He's won a title. He's not in Toronto's future plans. They just signed Fred VanVleet to a long-term contract. He's their point guard moving forward. They love Kyle Lowry. He's the best player in their history. But I think with Oladipo, it's definitely a rental where you're going to have to give up stuff to get him. And I just don't trust him as much as I trust Kyle Lowry, even at his advanced age.
Are you saying Kyle Lowry is the best player in franchise history for the Raptors over Vince Carter?
Yeah, he won a title.
Well, he had Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, he won a title. He's made multiple All-Star games. He will be remembered as their best. Yes. He's a Hall of Famer. He's going to be.
Kyle Lowry's a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. What does the NBA Hall of Fame look like?
Everyone gets it. And actually, everyone gets it.
Christ, are you kidding me?
Yeah, Kyle Lowry.
He's a good player, but like when you say Kyle Lowry, do you honestly go Hall of Famer? That's your first.
Let me look this up here. He's played. Hold up for a second. Here.
Do you think Andre Iguodala is a Hall of Famer?
Probably. Yeah, he's won a Finals MVP.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame is an utter joke.
Hey, listen,
Sixers get in there.
Hey, listen, Sixers great Bobby Jones. You know Bobby Jones, defensive player there. He was a 6th man. He didn't start.
Bobby Jones is before my time. I don't care about Bobby Jones. I care about the players I've seen.
Here you go. Kyle Lowry, 6-time All-Star, All NBA one, 2015-16 All NBA.
First team or second team?
Third let me see when this was.
It's gotta be third team.
2015-16. This is boring. We don't need to do it, but yeah, he is. He won a championship. He's an all-star.
Boring. It's a good debate. There was no chance on God's green earth he makes the Hall of Fame.
He's a 6-time All-Star.
Who cares?
That's what happened. Do you know how? Listen, I know you don't care about All-Stars. They don't mean anything. There's only 12 spots in the league.
Oh my god!
And there's only 12 spots per conference.
If Kyle Lowry makes the Hall of Fame, I'm just going to go absolutely.
You should see. Look, everyone gets in the Hall of Fame. He's made 6 All-Star. He made an All NBA. He's won a championship. He's made 6 All-Star teams. That's what it is. He was one of the best players on a championship team. That's what happens. Look at the Celtics. They've got all these Hall of Famers like Vinnie Johnson and who are on like those 80s teams. Everyone on Robert Parrish. Like Robert Parrish is, he is. He's the center on the championship team. Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Like, yeah, 100%.
Dude,
you win it.
I can't with you right now.
Draymond Green, Hall of Famer.
Oh, stop! Jesus Christ, dude, are you flipping kidding me right now?
He's won 3 titles.
The dude that averages 5 points a game.
Bobby Jones made the Hall of Fame.
Is Robert Horry in the Hall of Fame? He has 7 rings. Is he in the Hall of Fame?
No, but he has
no,
but he doesn't have a whole no, but he could be. He might be. He could get in as a look. Let me look at Draymond Green right here. 3-time All-Star, 3-time NBA champ, 5-time All Defensive Team, Steals champ, 2-time All NBA, 2016-17 Defensive Player of the Year. That's a Hall of Famer, dude. That's a Hall of Famer.
Who?
Draymond Green.
Stop, dude.
Did you hear what I just said?
You're making me sick. You're making me sick. Draymond Green is so overrated. This guy rode the coattails of the Splash Brothers and Kevin Durant.
Hold up for a second.
He should be kissing their feet from here to the end of time.
No. What the problem is that like everyone with basketball, it's always about scoring. He was the 4th scorer on their team. Look what he did. He was the center. He's what, 6'5"?
God.
6'6". Look, 5-time All Defensive Team. 3-time champ. 3-time champ.
Zero chance. Zero.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
If the Warriors want to retire his number, which they will, and put it in the rafters, have at it. There is no shot in God's green earth that guy should be in the Naismith Basketball Hall.
I'm gonna put out some Twitter polls when we upload the show tomorrow, and I'm gonna ask Draymond Green, Hall of Famer or not. Kyle Lowry, Hall of Famer or not.
Run 3 of those. I want Iguodala, I want Lowry, and I want Green. I want all of them on there.
Case of beer on both of them. You owe me 2 cases of beer. Now,
are we going off of 50%, or is this like baseball where they have to have over 70%?
Oh, no. We're going to wait till they go in. I mean, I'm going to be stuck with you till I'm 65 years old. I'm telling you that. And listen, if I don't talk to you for 5 years, 10 years, because you screw me out of something, you screw me out of some big payday or something like that, I will still show up when Kyle Lowry gets inducted into the Hall of Fame and when Draymond Green gets inducted to the Hall of Fame. Dude, they win titles. They're all like multiple-time All-Stars, multiple-time All-NBA, Defensive Player of the Year. Like they've got all the hardware. That's what happens.
No, I don't say their name and go Hall of Fame. No. Harden, Hall of Fame. LeBron, Hall of Fame. Giannis, Hall of Fame. Joel Embiid stays healthy, Hall of Fame. Like those are names right there that you can emphatically say Hall of Fame with, and there's probably a few others in the league that I'm not even thinking about right now. But these guys, no, good basketball players, very good basketball players, not Hall of Famers. They don't scream Hall of Fame.
No. That's. Hey,
say a name.
What about baseball? Baseball's the same thing.
What do you mean?
Baseball's the same thing. Everyone gets in the Hall of Fame.
No one got in this year.
Well, that's because of the stupid steroid stuff and Kurt Schilling going off on Twitter. There's guys. Listen, Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds and Rafael Palmeiro and Mark McGuire. They are Hall of Fame players.
Now, they don't want to be. Is Jimmy Rollins a Hall of Famer?
Absolutely, he's the best shortstop.
I agree with you because to me, like he's like Barry Larkin. Now Chase Utley, Hall of Fame player.
I would say yes, but I don't think that he wasn't he. I would say yes, but this hey listen, this would be
We're going off the beaten path now.
This would be a whole nother show because I think Chase Utley, while very, 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 very good, is a little overrated here in town. I think we give a lot to Chase and not enough to Jimmy and Ryan. Chase was lights out and super dependable from 06 to 2005. But like I think we overrate his running all out to first base a little too much and playing through injuries.
You do know for a decade stretch, a 10-year stretch, Chase Utley was second in wins above replacement overall in the whole league. Only one guy was ahead of him, Albert Pujols. So like when you take into account it's a 10-year window is what you really need. Like in football, it's like a 5-year window. I mean, like, let's be honest, like, Terrell Davis, he got in, great freaking player. He broke down too soon. It's the same thing in baseball is like a 10-year window. Basketball is kind of the same thing. Hockey's a little bit longer. It just feels like they have a little bit more longevity. They could pile up more stats. But like basketball, man, like it's got to be like Mitch Richmond's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, come on, man.
Hey, listen, you go into the baseball thing. You go in the baseball
standards around here. Damn it.
Listen, who goes in? There's in any sport Hall of Fame. It's individual stuff and championship stuff. That's how it goes. All right, that's just how it goes. Kyle Lowry is a 6-time All-Star. He's won a championship. He's made an All-NBA team. He's in. He's got less of the personal stuff, only one championship. Draymond Green's got 3 championships. He's got All-NBA. He won the Defensive Player of the Year. He's All-Star. Like, he's got all that stuff.
Nope.
And it's not like he's not like Mitch Richmond, who was perpetually 4th in scoring for a crappy Sacramento team in the late 80s, 90s.
Please post those polls tomorrow. Please post those polls
tomorrow.
Done
and done. Hey, listen.
I want to see how many other people agree.
We're going on and on. I'm going to wrap this up right here, Sack. Good to be back. We probably should have done 2 hours today, but because of last week's nonsense, that's all right. We'll get back in.
We could have.
We'll announce the results of these polls on Thursday's Green Legion Radio. We'll be live at 6 p.m. YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter. Please go download the iHeartRadio app, search Green Legion Radio, subscribe, download, share, do all that good stuff. Thank you to Bud Light and all our sponsors. Sack, go Flyers, go Sixers. Good night, buddy.
Good night, bro.